Now, can we please welcome our second Bavada of the evening to the Bavada stage? Can we welcome, please, Jane North, who's going to talk about the pleasures of supposition.
Hi, my talk's called The Pleasures of Supposition. The supposition is about my found family photographs of the 20th century. I've done a couple of talks, but both of them were Petra Kucha. And for those of you who know about Petra Kucha, it's like boom, 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 6.7 seconds. So you race through things. So I'm really quite pleased to have a little bit extra time to talk about my collection. I collect abandoned family photographs, discarded photographs, photographs that have been considered to be absolute rubbish, landfill, house clearance. And I find them in car boots, and I find them in flea markets, and I spend no more than pence each time. Oh, if I'm really in a good mood, it'll be £1, and I buy them, and I just pick the choice ones. I'm not interested in a huge, big archive of pictures. I've got a tiny little box. Why do I do it? Well, I like making up stories, and I like using my imagination, and I like to conjure ideas and situations around these people. And so the supposition is a pleasure for me. But it's not just about that. That's quite a surface thing. It's also because I don't understand people. They often don't understand me. I'm an outsider. People call me, laughing a bit politely, an eccentric. So I'm always trying to get a handle on people, trying to understand people. And I kind of think, this could be a way. This is how I could understand them. So this is the first photograph that I picked. My photographs are from, for no particular reason, from the south coast to South Yorkshire. I think this is a South Yorkshire one. You might be able to tell that. And I look at this and it fills me with pleasure. From his shiny trousers to that lovely floral skirt. And what happened to duffel bags? Do people remember duffel bags? And he's having a bad tip, and she's having a poor on lemon. And I like it. And I think the thing that I like about it the most is the way they are smiling. And there is this complete, gentle, complicit happiness. And I like that very, very much indeed. So they've all been abandoned, and I picked them up. And because I love Victorian literature, I read lots of literature as well, because that's another one of my doomed efforts to understand people, which of course is completely ridiculous. How could we ever understand people from reading literature? Because you do and you don't. I will never know anyone like Madame Bovary, because he's inside her head, and it's 360. But I keep reading, keep doing my extreme reading, keep looking at my photographs to try and understand people. I collect different formats. I collect Kodak wallets, the little buff wallets, and they're jam-packed full of negatives. So I buy these negatives, and I've no idea what's in them. I mean, you can hold them up to the light a little bit, but you don't really know. All my criteria is, because it's all I'm interested in, is it's got to be people. It's usually families or friends, and they must be by amateurs. I don't want anything posed. I want photographs just taken by amateurs. So the negatives are quite exciting. The lantern slide, if you come across a lantern slide, they're glass, and they're about the size of a mobile phone screen, so they're quite large. And there is this moment which I find very exciting, and to use the foul television parlance of the day, there is a reveal. But in my case, it's not a beautiful house or somebody I'm going to a desert island with. It's actually an image from the past, and it's going to leap out at me. I have, in terms of kit, I have an ancient scanner. I got it from 50 quid from Gumtree, from a guy in Worthing. And it really doesn't like talking to my modern technology very much, but I treat her, you know, like a queen and try and get them talking to each other. And then I put them on my scan. And then there's the old thing that some of you may remember, the fax machine. And then, shazam, I see what the image is. And I saw this one. And it just took my breath away. This is a box of slides from a flea market in Crystal Palace in London. I just fell in love with this. There's something about the boy on the trike, holding his lip, big tough toys, big tough boys. And there she is on her car. And she's just got such grace in repose. But she's just a little girl. It's just lovely. I love sepia. I'm not going to apologise. In this age of Instagram, I am not going to apologise for the state of my photographs because they are imperfect and they are flawed, but it actually doesn't matter. So this one's terribly tatty vocal, but it is one of my favourites. And you can see it is a sepia and it's all wrinkled. And it's faint. But what really does leap out at you are these young women. And I'm not going to get all ossifyingly Downton about it, but we may assume that these are young girls on a rare day out. And what I like about these photographs is that you've probably seen these girls' faces. They are at once familiar, but completely and utterly unknown. No idea who they are. And I think it's always good to remind oneself of the absolute pleasure of paddling. So moving on through the ages, I've got my negatives, I've got my lantern slides, a bit Edwardian there, then we've got black and white pictures, and then we've got, and they don't call it glorious for nothing, do they? Glorious Technicolor, Spartacus, Ben-Hur, and in your holiday photographs. There we go, glorious, glorious Technicolor. And I love this because it pops out at you. The red table, her beautiful green dress and the jewels and her gorgeous butterfly glasses. And there's a whole series of these. These are of days out, when people used to go for days out. And her husband have gone for lots of days out in the Yorkshire Dales, in their beloved Morris Minor. I'm also admiring of the fact that she's got an actual glass coffee jug and she's having a picnic. Also, I love her full English. And there was a time, which many of us will remember, when British cuisine was not as it is now. Somerset Maugham said, if you want to eat well in England, breakfast 3 times a day. And I think in the 60s and 50s that was the case. And I just love the full English there. I think it's wonderful. Okay. So I look at these things, I find abandoned photographs, and a lot of them, as you would imagine, are of children. And I think it's very interesting that when I see people of all ages, wherever I'm at, looking through these photographs, they have quite a visceral reaction because they're children and they've been given away, and something gets you in the solar plexus about that. And this is one of those pictures. I love her little pram, and she really exemplifies something that I see, which is a bit of a trend in pictures, which is that there's a figurative expression. She's got a young head on old shoulders, but in this case it's quite a sort of literal thing, where you see the adult head on the child, and I think you can see that here. It's quite strange. There's another one that you'll notice as well like that. So, and interesting to me, this picture and this portrait is not unlike one that I have of my mother. But this is not my mother, and I wouldn't show it to you, because I feel very differently about photographs of loved ones, and these are not my loved ones, these are strangers. So I have a freedom to think about them and interact with them, so it's not my mother. But one has an intense feeling about photographs of people we know, which is why I'm going to come to somebody called Roland Barthes. I'm an autodidact. I'm a secondary modernist, not a postmodernist. and I shy away from critical studies. But there is an article by a journalist called Brian Dillon in The Guardian in 2011, which you could look up, in which he beautifully illuminates a work by Roland Barthes called Camera Lucida. I don't know if any of you have heard of it here. Barthes was intensely bound to his mother, and she dies, and he is bereft. And as an academic, critical theorist, he does what he does best, and he goes on an intellectual exploration to find his mother in pictures. And it's a very poignant journey. His ideas around photography and mortality are very powerful and very moving and very disquieting. So I haven't read Camera Lucida. I've explained to you I'm not a postmodernist. But I have a funny lockdown story. I guess we've all got one. I managed to get hold from eBay of a copy of Camera Lucida. And I finally opened it. And I was really shocked to see this picture. Now, this is by a professional photographer, by Nadar. It was taken in 1882. And this gentleman is an Italian called Savagnon de Brazza, and he was an explorer. He was a colonist. There's a place in Congo called Brazzaville. It's named after his family. And these young boys are from the Congo. But I suddenly realized that I'd had lunch at the most extraordinary restaurant of my entire life in Rome when I was 19 with his grandson, Count Alvisa de Savagnon de Brazza. And it really, really took me aback. I'm interested in body language. I once once taught communication study to engineering graduates and undergraduates. For those of you that might think that is a Sisyphean task, it's a Sisyphean task. But I did talk to them about body language. And I think the one thing, I think it probably was the one thing I managed to impart to them, but the one thing I managed to impart to them was that our bodies tell a language. It's a language, and you can read it, and subconsciously we're all reading it, as I can read the way that you're sitting now. And at times in your life, whether it's a date or a job interview, it's very important to understand what those signals are. But I'm particularly interested in families that have a stance. I think we see that most clearly in the royal family. We have the high status stuff. But in lots of families, you've got a family stance, even a family gait, a family posture. And I find this little chap totally endearing, that there's his father in his 40s, but there he is adopting the same stance. It's just very, very sweet. I like this one very much. I like the fact that they're so relaxed and they seem to have the foot forward. And this. And again, I talk about young head on old shoulders, but hands on knees. What a charming couple of chaps they are. This is unashamedly just for me. This is just nostalgia. I've indulged myself here. I couldn't resist this one. There are those of us who will remember the Oxford bags, the unisex shirts. It's just wonderful. You may well remember. One bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch, girl. Osmonds, Saturday morning. David Cassidy, flick hair, Farrah Fawcett, flick hair, David Cassidy. The names of these people are on the back, and I'm very pleased to see that the shortest person is Annie. And to mash up my musical illusions, I feel that Annie really is holding her own amongst all the young dudes. This is probably in my top 3. I had to leave the house, it was burning. I think I would take this. I love the blue. It's a glass slide, it's scratchy, I don't care. But that look, woman in the one-piece boater, girl in a bikini, just looking back. And without a shred of lasciviousness, I think it has such an allure, because they're looking at us, looking at them. This is just one of my happy ones. I mean, really, can you really look at this and not smile? They're just cute as buttons, aren't they? And you know she goes on to do something with horses. My niece Antonia actually zoomed in. She said, "Do you know what it says there?" And it says, "Rest and be thankful." And I thought, oh, that's so lovely. This is a Technicolor slide. This one, yes, I know, slightly disturbing, but there's a definite malign glance going on. I mean, he's just undoing his Christmas presents, the naughty little shit. You know, really, it's ridiculous. So she's like, which I think is captured for all time. We're looking at it now. And there's sort of a Rigsby type in the back, and there's the lady in pearls in the front row. And you know Alan Bennett could do something wonderful with that. This was another one that I was speechless when I saw this. I found a box in a hospice shop of glass lantern slides. 12 boxes, 12 slides. I'm working my way through them. I know the name of the family because somebody's penciled on it, and they're called the Pembertons. And it starts in 1921 when Fanny married Bernard. And I've inferred from these that this is Fanny's sister and her bridesmaid. And I think she looks absolutely beautiful with that beautiful bouquet of flowers. So as you can imagine, there are lots and lots of sibling photographs. I'm going to speed up now. Look at this. Everything's knitted except their shoes. Hand in pockets indeed. This one I like very much because he's got his hand protectively around her. When this was taken, taking a photograph was rare. It was taken for an occasion. It was taken to be a keepsake. And I really like this because on some subconscious level, this young man knew that. And he wanted this and his sister to be remembered, which I think is lovely. Because what we live in now is the digital photography age, the photographic incontinence of social media. Somebody wrote a very shouty article in the Daily Telegraph, and it was headlined, "Are we breeding a generation of young people who will never have a photograph album?" Well, it's not climate change, and it's not going to kill anyone. But does it matter? Well, I think it does. I like this one because this is a very, very naughty boy. He's absolutely mischievous, and there's a whole raft of pictures of him rolling his eyes at family dudes, which I think is just charming. I love this one because it captures such a moment of intimacy, and I'm assuming they're friends, but they could be more than friends. But who knows? But what really comes through is that look. What thing about family photographs of the 20th century would be complete without pets? Those of you who have got pets, oh, weren't they an absolute boon during lockdown? I like him because he's very normal wisdom, and she's just holding her dog because you do, because dogs are wonderful. I like this one, there's a lot going on. There's the admonishing hand there. It's actually in France. I don't think it's French, I didn't get it from France, but she's got the admonishing hand there, and it's obviously burgundy o'clock somewhere. That leads me to thinking of a French connection, because if you haven't come across somebody called Vivienne Mayer, please do check her out. She grew up in France in the Alps. She started to take photographs, and she tried to be a commercial photographer, but it didn't quite work. So she gets on a boat, she goes to America, she works all her life as a nanny for the kind of New York families that summer in the Hamptons, and she just took photographs of her city and her people, and they are quite astonishing. Because zoom forward a decade, a young man goes to a lockup, bids on it, opens it up, finds all these boxes, and her entire oeuvre is there. Every photograph, every negative. And they're stunning. And it really is curious today, when people grasp at celebrity with everything they've got, that she didn't feel the need to have her photographs shown. It was enough to take them. This is my last one, and I like this because of the textures at the back, and I like that it's an ostensibly happy family, but one never knows. I just want to leave you with a thought. If you've got photographs from your family that you treasure, unless you make a plan, they're going to end up as rubbish. So please make that plan. Thank you very much.